Hello. Today General Hospital will reveal the confirmation of Ryan Paevey's return as Nathan West has ignited a wave of unprecedented excitement across the General Hospital fan community. For over 7 years, Nathan's shocking death, gunned down in a devastating shooting orchestrated by his own biological father. The infamous and malevolent Caesar Faison, has remained one of the most heartbreaking and unforgettable moments in Port Charles history. The image of a noble, selfless detective sacrificing his life to protect Maxie and their unborn child didn't just leave a deep emotional scar on Maxie, whose heart was shattered by the loss. But it also created an irreplaceable void in Britt's life, the half-sister who cherished Nathan as her sole source of emotional grounding in a world often plagued by betrayal and chaos. Ryan Paevey's portrayal of Nathan transcended the typical soap opera archetype of a handsome hero. He became a symbol of unwavering loyalty, justice, and compassion, a moral compass in a town where deception and ambiguity often reigned. His departure in 2018 marked not only the tragic end of a character but the silencing of a rare beacon of hope within the fabric of General Hospital. Thus, when news broke in 2025 that Paevey would return to the canvas, the emotional response from fans was immediate and overwhelming. It wasn't just nostalgia or sentimentality, it was the profound realization that the heart of Port Charles, once thought lost forever, might once again begin to beat through Nathan's return. And yet, the news didn't stop there. What transformed a moment of joyful anticipation into a thunderclap of speculation and elation was a cryptic and tantalizing revelation from Paevey himself. He would not be returning alone. According to the actor, another familiar face, another actor, was also set to return to General Hospital at the same time, though the identity of this person was being kept under strict wraps. Instantly, social media exploded with theories, fantasies, and fan-cast dreams. Longtime viewers and casual fans alike found themselves swept up in an electrified frenzy of possibilities. Was this mystery actor tied to Nathan's past? Was this a new romantic interest? An old flame, a long-lost relative, or someone connected to the darkest corners of the Faison legacy? What made this announcement even more confounding, and more compelling, was Paevey's emphatic confirmation that the mystery returnee was not Kelly Thiebaud, whose return as Britt Westbourne had already been officially announced and widely publicized. That single detail narrowed the field significantly, yet deepened the mystery tenfold. If not Britt, then who could possibly hold enough narrative weight, historical importance, and emotional resonance to warrant being paired with Nathan's long-awaited return? Fans immediately began drawing lines between the unresolved storylines of the past and the current arcs exploding across Port Charles. Could the other returning actor be someone who shared a deep, personal, perhaps even romantic connection with Nathan before Maxie? Could it be someone from Nathan's days on the force, a fellow officer presumed dead, a former partner entangled in a secret conspiracy, or someone who once knew the truth about Nathan's origins that had never been revealed? Some even wondered whether this individual could be a new character entirely, someone fresh to the General Hospital world but introduced through Nathan, carrying secrets that could upend everything viewers thought they knew about his life and death. The intrigue is amplified by the current timing of this return, which aligns perfectly with several storylines teetering on the brink of revelation. The surging tension surrounding the embryo theft involving Gio and Rocco, the whispers of an underground program orchestrating genetic manipulation, and the tangled threads of Maxie's unresolved grief all provide fertile ground for Nathan's re-entry to intersect with powerful consequences. Is it possible that Nathan is not merely returning as a ghost or a memory, but as a living man, perhaps having survived and been imprisoned, manipulated, or hidden all this time? Could his death have been a lie, manufactured by someone seeking to erase him from the chessboard of Port Charles's power games? Moreover, the revelation that he's not coming back alone suggests that his reappearance will not be a solitary, isolated cameo but a narrative event with far-reaching implications. If he returns with a partner, someone equally enigmatic and emotionally charged, the ripple effects could destabilize existing relationships, resurface buried secrets, and catalyze explosive confrontations. Maxie, now emotionally entwined with Damien Spinelli, would be torn between her loyalty to her current partner and the ghost of a love she never truly stopped mourning. Britt, already confirmed to return, may find herself spiraling emotionally, drawn back into a family dynamic that was never safe, never simple, but always defined by fierce, undying love. And yet, it is the unanswered question, who is returning alongside Paevey, that has become the most tantalizing enigma. If not Britt, then perhaps someone from beyond the grave, someone thought long dead. Someone who holds the final piece of Nathan's legacy. Could it be a long-lost mother? A twin? A son or daughter previously hidden from the world? Could it be a person tied to the WSB or even to the unresolved crimes of Faison's past? The possibilities stretch far and wide, but what is certain is this. The magnitude of Nathan West's return has already changed the energy of General Hospital forever, even before a single frame has aired. As the countdown begins and viewers brace themselves for what could be the most emotionally devastating and narratively explosive arc of the year. The excitement surrounding Ryan Paevey's return is no longer just about nostalgia, it's about redemption, justice, truth, and the return of a hero whose story was never truly over. Nathan West was always more than just a character. He was a heartbeat in the chaos. Now, that heartbeat is returning, with company, and Port Charles may never be the same again. From this moment forward, a flood of questions has begun to overwhelm the imaginations of General Hospital fans, each more tantalizing and complex than the last. Could the mysterious actor returning alongside Ryan Paevey be portraying someone deeply entangled in Nathan's past? Some viewers are convinced it could be Nathan's long-lost mother, a woman shrouded in secrecy, perhaps shielded from him by design, or a casualty of Caesar Faison's manipulative web. If not a maternal figure, might it be an old flame, someone who once shared an intimate, perhaps forbidden love story with Nathan long before he met Maxie? A past so carefully buried that Maxie never even knew this woman existed, and whose return now threatens to unravel everything Maxie thought she understood about the man she loved and lost. Even darker theories have taken hold, speculating that this unknown character could in fact be a former enemy, an antagonist who once orchestrated or influenced Nathan's fate behind the scenes. If true, this character's return could mark the beginning of a new arc of vengeance, an intricate and dangerous plan to reclaim power, reframe history, or extract justice for a betrayal that viewers have yet to witness. Several fans believe that this enigmatic figure may be another victim of Caesar Faison's cruelty, someone who escaped with their life but not their sanity, someone who possesses vital, long-buried information about Nathan's origins, his true lineage, and the secret legacy of the Westbourne and Faison bloodlines. If this theory proves true, then Nathan's return, especially if accompanied by this person, could spark a stunning chain of revelations that shatter the current understanding of his death. Perhaps Nathan never truly died at all. What if the gunshot that appeared to end his life was merely the beginning of another twisted captivity, orchestrated by the remnants of the criminal syndicate that Faison once controlled? Could Nathan have been secretly held hostage all these years, experimented upon, drugged into silence, or used as leverage in some grander plan aimed at Port Charles? The notion that he was removed from the canvas not by fate but by deliberate design adds a harrowing layer of tragedy and horror to his storyline, and raises the possibility that his reappearance could blow open a conspiracy that spans years and touches every major character connected to him. Meanwhile, other fans gravitate toward a more supernatural angle, proposing that Nathan might return not as a man of flesh and blood, but as a spirit, a ghost bound not by vengeance, but by love and unfinished purpose. In this form, Nathan wouldn't haunt Port Charles in malice, but rather in solemn protection. He could appear to Maxie in moments of emotional turmoil, guiding her through the grief she's never fully conquered. He might reach out to Britt, trying to pull her back from the brink as she grapples with whatever darkness or redemption awaits her in her own reintroduction to town. Or, perhaps most poignantly, he could appear to his child, a child who may have grown up never knowing their father, now suddenly visited by the very essence of the man who gave his life to protect them. But even the spiritual theories come laced with twists. Some speculate that Nathan's ghostly presence will have material consequences in the real world, that his warnings, his memories, and his interventions could alter the present-day course of events in ways no one expects. He may reveal hidden truths, push characters into confronting the past, or unravel fragile alliances forged in his absence. And if the actor returning with him is connected to these visions, a psychic, a fellow victim of paranormal manipulation, or someone cursed to see and interact with the dead, then the stakes rise even higher. The line between life and death, past and present, will blur in terrifying and beautiful ways. Another compelling possibility is that the returning mystery actor portrays someone entirely new to audiences, but vital to a history of Nathan's life that has never been explored on screen. This could be a former colleague from his days as a detective, someone who worked undercover with him on a classified case that ties directly into current events. Perhaps this individual holds evidence of criminal activities that still ripple through Port Charles today. Or perhaps they were with Nathan in his final moments and hold a key to understanding whether his death was truly what it seemed. Even more dramatically, this individual could be the only person who knows who actually pulled the trigger that night, possibly exposing that Faison was not acting alone, or that someone else wanted Nathan silenced. What lends all these theories increased relevance and urgency is the timing of Nathan's return, which curiously aligns with several explosive ongoing storylines. The embryo theft that has rattled families, the cryptic connections between Gio, Rocco, Britt, and Dante, and the growing tension surrounding fatherhood, legacy, and deception, all point to a convergence. Could Nathan have a blood tie to one of the boys? Is it possible that, before his death or disappearance, Nathan was legally designated as a father in a secret surrogacy agreement that never came to light? If so, this revelation would upend not just one family, but multiple generations of connections and alliances. Suddenly, Britt is not just a grieving sister welcoming her brother home. She's the only one who might hold the truth about a mysterious pregnancy, about a woman coerced into childbirth by Faison's old network, or about a baby traded like currency between medical institutions and shadowy operatives. That child could be Gio, whose very identity may come into question. And if Maxie discovers that one of the children she helped raise, or one she believed belonged to someone else, is actually Nathan's biological child, the emotional fallout would be seismic. Maxie, who has fought so hard to rebuild her life, could be forced to face the devastating possibility that the past she thought she buried is not only alive, but reshaping her present. Her love for Spinelli, her commitment to stability, and her personal growth would all be threatened by the resurgence of a love she never truly let go of, and a truth she never expected. The romantic and familial implications would be devastating, not only for her but for Spinelli, whose sense of security and place in Maxie's heart would be shattered. This is no longer just about one beloved character returning from the dead, or from the shadows. This is about how Nathan West's re-entry, especially with an unknown but pivotal figure, could rip the seams of Port Charles wide open. Long-standing narratives would be rewritten. Secrets kept for over a decade might be unearthed. And the emotional destruction left in the wake of these discoveries could push even the most composed characters to the edge. Because Nathan West was not simply a character that fans loved. He was a linchpin. A fixed point in the emotional, moral, and narrative universe of General Hospital. And now, that point has been reactivated, resurrected, with an unknown force beside him. Whatever the truth behind the mystery actor's identity may be, mother, lover, rival, ally, or ghost, their presence signals that Nathan's return is not a standalone event. It is the ignition of a storyline that promises to stretch deep into the history, heart, and hidden rot of Port Charles. And when the curtain is finally pulled back, when the secrets are laid bare and the truth no longer hidden, nothing, and no one, will ever be the same again. Meanwhile, Britt, whose own return to General Hospital is cloaked in shadow and surrounded by countless unanswered questions, could find herself thrust into the center of a new battle brewing quietly but ominously. Behind the scenes of Port Charles. Her reappearance was already stirring speculation, with some fans believing she may return as her original self, others convinced she may have a secret twin. And still more wondering if her involvement is tied to a deeper, more sinister plot. But now, with Ryan Paevey confirmed to return as Nathan West. And with a mystery actor accompanying him whose identity is carefully guarded, the stakes for Britt Westbourne may be higher than anyone ever imagined. If this secret figure is someone who shares a deeply personal and painful history with Britt, perhaps a former associate of her father, Caesar Faison. Or even someone who was once a victim of Faison's torment alongside Britt, then her return may not be a simple homecoming, but the catalyst for a deadly game of vengeance and redemption. Britt has spent much of her life teetering on the line between redemption and self-destruction. Though she once leaned into her darker instincts as Faison's daughter. Scheming and deceiving those around her, she eventually fought her way toward forgiveness, building meaningful relationships with characters like Jason Morgan and her long-lost brother Nathan. His presence was always a stabilizing force for her, a quiet reminder that despite their twisted lineage, they could still choose a different path, one rooted in loyalty, courage, and love. But now, if Nathan returns, be it as a living man or a haunting figure, and carries with him the ghost of the past, Britt may be forced to confront everything she has tried to bury. And if the unknown character arriving with Nathan is connected to Faison's legacy, Britt could be swept back into a narrative she's spent years trying to escape. Such a confrontation wouldn't merely challenge her emotionally, it could implicate her in the very conspiracies that once defined her father's criminal empire. Secrets she's kept hidden. Relationships she's severed, and betrayals she thought were behind her might rise again to demand retribution. And if the new arrival shares ties to long-forgotten sins, whether as a victim, witness, or collaborator, Britt could become the fulcrum on which a much larger plot pivots. She could be forced to choose between exposing the whole truth, even if it means self-destruction, or protecting herself and those she loves at the cost of another generation's suffering. Her bond with Nathan, no matter what form his return takes, could be the only anchor she has to withstand the tidal wave of revelations headed her way. And then there is Jason Morgan. A man whose emotional stoicism has long served as both his armor and his Achilles heel. Jason and Britt share a complicated history, one forged in moments of mutual vulnerability. Near-death experiences, and a romance that simmered beneath the surface, never quite given the space to fully ignite. Jason's life has always been defined by loyalty, to Sunny, to Carly, to the code that governs his existence. But Nathan's return could pierce that armor, especially if Nathan reaches out to Britt first. If Nathan's return causes emotional upheaval for Britt, Jason may be drawn into a web of feelings and obligations he thought he'd long buried. Watching Britt unravel in the wake of Nathan's return, whether from joy, fear, or guilt, could pull Jason back toward a relationship he never truly let go of. This would force Jason into a corner, one where he must reevaluate everything. Does he continue down the path laid before him, one dictated by his sense of duty to Sunny and Carly? Or does he embrace the unspoken love and emotional vulnerability that Britt has always stirred within him? Nathan's reemergence as either a ghost or a man of flesh and blood may not just influence Britt's journey, but Jason's entire future. It could challenge him to confront not only his feelings but also the buried trauma surrounding Nathan's death, a loss that deeply affected everyone who crossed his path. As these threads begin to weave together, Port Charles once again finds itself on the edge of a seismic reckoning. Emotions long suppressed will erupt. Power dynamics carefully constructed over years will fracture. Characters who have sought peace will be dragged back into the battlefield of lies, betrayal, and long-awaited truth. Alliances will be tested. Enemies may become allies. And friends could become foes. Hearts once thought mended will break open again. Some will find the courage to love, while others will be consumed by vengeance or guilt. The town will become a war zone, not of gunfire or political struggle, but of emotional carnage, where every step forward risks pulling someone into the undertow of the past. What makes this moment even more profound is that none of it feels contrived. Instead, it feels like destiny, like the natural culmination of stories that began years ago and were never truly resolved. Ryan Paevey's return as Nathan is not just a nod to nostalgia. It's a necessary fulcrum around which an entire generation of characters must revolve, reassess, and ultimately evolve. And the unnamed actor returning with him holds the key to just how deep this evolution, or destruction, will go. They are not merely a supporting figure. They are the match to the powder keg. The final stroke of the pen rewriting the future of Port Charles. Once again, General Hospital is preparing to enter a bold new chapter, one in which every memory may be re-examined. Every buried truth may claw its way to the surface, and every character, whether living, dead, or something in between, may find themselves at the mercy of fate. In this world, resurrection is never just a miracle. It's a reckoning. And as Nathan West returns with a secret in his shadow and a storm at his back, the residents of Port Charles will have no choice but to face the past they thought they had buried, and brace for the consequences of its resurrection.